I'm Monty. This is the Marriage Bites podcast.
We get real about the joys and challenges of marriage through bites of wisdom we have learned over the years.
Our aim is to share this wisdom with you so your marriage won't bite.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Marriage Bites podcast. This week's episode is a little bit different than usual. Instead of having my husband here, I have a conversation with my baby sister. And we had so much fun talking, and we're so happy that we can share our conversation with you. Now, I know there are a few little issues with sound quality. My son came in during the recording, and there were a couple other things, and I appreciate your patience with that. So, here is my conversation with Camille. Enjoy! Hey, Camille.
Hey, Andelin.
How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. How are you?
I am doing fantastic.
Oh, good. What's so fantastic?
Well, got my exercise in this morning, so I'm feeling strong. We did strength training this morning, and it was really good. My husband and son went hunting, and they got a deer this morning. So, yay.
Oh, good.
Neat for the family. So, I'm sure I'll talk about that later on with him. But yeah, that happened today, so excited about that. And
That'll be fun.
how are you?
Does that mean he'll be home sooner?
I don't know when he'll be home, but the kids were sitting by the window watching for him to come home because they're so excited about it too. It's cute.
That's awesome.
Well,
Well, this past week, my 18-year-old started saying her R sounds.
18-month-old?
18-month-old. Yeah, that.
You're not old enough to have an 18-year-old.
Yeah, that. My 18-month-old started saying her R's.
Oh,
And it's
that's so cute.
She'll
That is-
even insert it into words that don't even have R's.
That is
She'll just-
adorable.
Yeah. She'll say bear.
Oh,
Yeah. It's so cute. It's the little things.
totally. Yeah, with little kids.
I was just thinking, did we talk about where we fit in our family?
We have not talked about that.
Yeah. Well, I'm the youngest, so I'm the best of all the game. Maybe we should bet. You got married when you were 19, right?
Yeah.
And then I got married when I was 28. So
Uh-huh.
that was probably like 20 years apart from each other's marriage.
Mm-hmm. Are we 8 years apart in age? Are we more
That
than?
sounds right.
Yeah, I'd have to do the math.
Yeah, that's too hard.
Yeah, I think we're about 8 years apart. I remember changing
Mhm.
her diapers when she was a baby. So
Oh, yeah.
old enough to remember changing her diaper. I remember my mom brought her in, her and my younger brother, who they're about a year, 15 months apart, 14 months.
14.
Really close together. She brought them into the school on picture day to get their pictures taken also. And then little picture with her curly little red hair because it's kind of red when she's a baby and so cute. Yeah, I don't know.
I was so cute when I was little.
You really were.
I don't know what happened.
And you're still the favorite, even 20 something years later. Still the favorite.
Oh,
But-
fun little story.
It's been really fun having my sister with me on this life coach journey. We always have each other to talk to and to complain to and help me get out of my confusion and all of my indulgence and all
Yeah, and sometimes even when I don't call, just knowing you're there is
Mhm.
enough. Again, just the little things.
Yeah.
Such a big difference.
Yeah, I love that. I love that so much. And that's our
Yeah.
topic for today.
So yeah, speaking of little things,
We're talking about little things that make a big difference. It's like the little chocolate that they leave on your pillow at the hotel. It's just such a small thing, but it makes me happy.
yeah. I remember one thing growing up. You were visiting from college. You were going to BYU, Idaho at the time.
Mhm.
And you did this little thing where you surprised us. So one of your friends, I think it was the one you drove with, and they
Okay.
knocked on the door and they were like, "Is Andelin there?" And I was like, "No, but I know she's coming home for the weekend." And I was always so excited when you would come home. And then you popped out and you were like, "Surprise, I'm actually here." And I was like, "Woo!" I was so excited I almost wet my pants. It was so fun.
That's funny. I really actually do like surprising people. Sometimes it's like good surprises, and sometimes it's like jumping out of people and making them jump. My kids sometimes hate it, but it's so funny. But I do like surprising people with good surprises too.
Yeah. I also loved it when you did my hair. It was
Aw.
like I'd always get so excited for Sunday because that's when you do my hair all fancy.
Aw.
And I just felt like a princess every Sunday when you would
Oh,
do my hair.
I don't remember that much, but I'm glad you do.
Yeah, I even remember one specific hairstyle. It was like you put my hair in a ponytail and then you would take sections of the hair and wrap it around so it made it like a really fancy bun kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I like for years was like I loved that hairstyle. And every time I do that, it's like the fanciest thing ever. Or whenever I would see it on someone else's hair, I'd be like, man, they are on point today because they
Oh,
have
that's
that really special bun in their hair.
yeah, it's amazing how I don't know if everybody feels this way, but hair is like a big deal to me. When my hair is looking good, then everything else is fine. So for some people, it's their teeth, or for some people, it's their nails or whatever. But for me, I just really love it when I feel like my hair looks really good. It's a
Oh
little
yeah.
thing, but it really makes a big difference for me.
Mine is having my bed made. It's like if
Oh,
my bed is made, then I'm ready for the day.
okay.
Or
Yeah.
taking a shower. That's another thing.
Yes.
That
Showers.
another yeah, little thing that makes a big
No,
difference.
a shower is a big deal.
Especially right after you have a baby.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Or if you have a baby at all, a shower is a big deal. So that's
Yeah.
a big thing that makes a big difference.
Yeah. So, what's one thing that you like about yourself? Like an attribute of sorts you could call it. Like what's one thing that you really like about yourself that has made a big difference in your life?
I like that my parents taught me to be willing to help out. I may not have always been willing to help out as a child, but now that I'm grown up and have my own family, I feel like this has really served me well. This idea that, hey, the neighbors would love help raking up their leaves. Should we go over there and help them? Or often there's people who need help moving. And I really actually enjoy doing that. It's not like, fine, I guess we'll go over and help them move their crap, but I really do enjoy it. And I see the effects not only for myself, but also it sort of spills over into my kids that they are able to help others in ways that are really meaningful. There's someone in our neighborhood who really wanted some help with some yard work. And they also had a neighbor who really needed help with yard work. They were a little bit older and they were just unable to do the work, and the yard had gotten way out of control. And so the neighbors called me and said, would your boys like to come and help this neighbor? And so they did. And they have continued to help them. This was last summer, and they've continued to help care for the yard this whole summer. And it's not a big thing. And it's not exactly service because my kids are getting paid for their time, but it makes a big difference to the people who they're doing the work for because they
Oh
can't
yeah,
don't have
for
the
sure.
ability to do it for themselves. And I love being able to teach my kids that it's okay to say no if you don't want to help. But the good feeling that comes from knowing that you helped someone, especially when it's something that they couldn't do themselves.
That's awesome. And I think the ability to say no also keeps it in the realm of helpfulness rather than going to the realm of resentful. Because we can do things for people and have it not be genuine and then end up just resenting them. And then we go down that spiral of disrupting and damaging relationships rather than building relationships with that energy of being helpful. I think that's amazing.
Thank you. What about you? What is something that you like about yourself that might be a little thing that you think makes a big difference for you?
Well, one thing is I like to go on walks, and I know it's a tiny thing, but it helps me get outside, it helps me get out of the house, it helps me get a little bit of care of my physical body. And being 7 months pregnant, walking is usually about all that I can handle.
Mm-hmm.
And I usually go with a friend. And so I kill two stones with one bird by getting some socialization in there
Mm-hmm.
and just making sure I take some time for myself, being able to recognize what I need to just function at a higher level throughout most of the day. That makes a huge difference. Again, it's just like that awareness, knowing what I need to take care of me helps
Mm-hmm.
me better take care of those around me,
Right.
and just kind of creates a higher baseline, you could say. Not that I'm like totally excited or at the edge of my seat for my day, but I'm happy. I'm like genuinely just content and happy.
Having that go throughout your day is so helpful, not only for you, but for your kids and your husband and whoever else you might be with during the day.
Yeah, and not expecting my husband to meet those needs for me. It's like
Yes.
I'm the best person for that.
Mm-hmm.
One other thing that came to mind about me knowing what I need is I can ask for help. So it's not just, oh, I am the only one that can take care of me, but I am also willing to ask for help and make requests. And so,
Yes.
again, I just wanted to clarify that. I'm not just like, oh, I'm making it all on me to take care of me, but I'm also willing to accept help from others.
Mm-hmm. And that's a big deal. That took me a long time to learn how to really actually ask for help, or when help was offered, to accept.
Right.
Because so often people are like, oh, well, anything I can do, or would you like me to help you with such and such thing? And I'd be like, no, it's fine, I've got it. And then deep down, I'm like, I don't got it.
Yeah.
Last summer or the summer before, I think my husband and I would take little walks around the neighborhood almost every night because his schedule allowed that. And by the time it cooled down, he'd be home and then we'd go for a quick little walk around the neighborhood. And so we were taking care of ourselves physically, but it also gave us time to really talk to each other, to tell each other about our day, or to talk about things that we were really thinking about. And even though it was probably half an hour or less, just that little bit of time that we took together really helped us to feel closer to each other.
That's awesome.
And we've continued that. Sometimes we'll go for a drive. Sometimes it'll be going out for an ice cream. We call it a mini date. I think I've talked about it on the podcast before, but having a mini date is so helpful, especially when you can do it really consistently, whatever that means for your relationship, whatever you can do. But it's about making the relationship the priority. It's so common for especially moms to say, well, I have to be here with the kids, or the kids need this, or the kids need me. And so it's really hard to get away and they don't make the time. And I remember at first I was sort of like, but what about what's going to happen at home while we're gone? And he was like,
Right.
they'll be fine. We'll be back in half an hour. Let's go and make our relationship a priority. And that has really helped us to stay on the same page and to feel closer to each other and just really make things better between us, even though it's just kind of a small thing.
And if perchance your house is on fire, when you're on your walk, you're close enough to your house that even if your house is burning down, you'll see the smoke, right?
That's correct. And if the kids are yelling, we'll hear it from there.
So
we were walking last week and I heard some kid noises. I'm like, is that our kids? Turned out it was another neighbor who was out for a walk with their family, and it was their kids making the noises. But I was like, we're close enough. We can hear them screaming in the backyard if there's any problem. What is something that your husband does for you, a little thing that makes a big difference for you?
One thing that my husband is so amazing at is listening. He is so good at listening. A couple of years ago, when I had a very difficult classroom, like I was in a pretty challenging school, like pretty low income area, and a lot of behaviors that were difficult to manage. And it was like every day I had a new story about a new kid, and he knew I needed to talk. And there was one time in particular that I could tell he was kind of tired of hearing all this stuff, but yet he listened anyway because he knew I needed to talk. And it even right now saying that like brings up emotion just because of how much I love him and how much it meant to me, because I did need to talk because it was just heavy on me, and that he was so willing to listen, even though I knew he didn't want to. I think he even might have said he didn't really want to listen. So like I knew for sure like he was kind of tired of hearing it, but he also expressed that he was so willing to listen anyway. Like it was so touching, and he's so good at listening. Like I can tell he hears me when I speak. And yeah, it's so helpful because I get it off of my chest. I can articulate what's going on in my head, which makes it not a big deal. And so it prevents emotions from building up and me like exploding and or having a mental breakdown or having a panic attack or whatever. And so being able to express these emotions, and he doesn't judge me for what I say, which maybe he should. Because sometimes I'm not the kindest person in the world when it comes to my opinion about other people, which I hate to admit, but he doesn't judge me for the judgments I have of myself. And so
yeah,
that's one thing that I really love about my husband, and it makes such a big difference.
yeah, that's a beautiful story. Something that I like that my husband does is will text me throughout the day, ask me how I'm doing. With his job, he doesn't always have time for a phone call, or he'll call me and then 10 seconds later a call will come out and then he'll be like, sorry, I gotta go. But then he'll text me a picture of whatever it is he's working on. Like one time there was a cow that was just wandering out in the middle of the city. I don't know where it came from. But he'll send me like funny pictures of the weird stuff that he comes across. Or sometimes we'll send each other memes that are just funny. And it's such a small thing, but it really helps me like think about him and feel connected to him, even though he works long hours and sometimes weird hours of the day. And it doesn't feel like a traditional family life sometimes, because like he'll be gone during the evening when I'm putting the kids to bed, or he'll be gone really early in the morning and I won't see him before he leaves. But then he'll like text me, and I know that it's just sweet to think that he's thinking about me throughout the day, even though he's really busy.
The little things means a lot.
Yes. Another thing that I really like that he does is when we have company, he will almost always wash the dishes.
Wow.
So I can sit and chat with our company and he'll go and wash the dishes. So I don't have to worry about it. He's really good about cleaning up, especially when we have company. And I really love that because then I don't have to do it.
Yeah, my husband will do that sometimes too. And I think it's kind of a win-win because I do like to talk and he sometimes is done talking.
Uh-huh.
And so
yeah, I think he's like, oh, I don't know what to do with my hands. So he'll go and wash the dishes. I'm like, when?
Sweet.
Yeah. So yeah.
We both chose good husbands.
We really did. I don't know how we lucked out, but we really did. What are some of your traditions that are little things that make you happy?
Well, one thing is we got Costco cheesecakes for our wedding cake because I make wedding cakes. And in my head, I was like, I can't, in my right mind, pay someone else to make my wedding cake, which is a dumb thought, but that's where I was. But I also don't want to make it myself because I don't want that stress. And so we thought, oh, we'll just go with Costco cheesecakes. And then we can just have a nice, fresh, delicious cheesecake for our anniversary every year. And so that's one thing that we love, that super easy, because I'm all about easy traditions and easy ways to celebrate. And so we get our Costco cheesecake every year. There was one time we even bought it and then ate it before we left the store. And it was
that's funny.
Yeah, not the whole thing, of course, because they're pretty big. But it was like someone walked by and was like, that's a great idea. And I'm like, yeah. Like, why wait till I get home to eat this deliciousness? Yeah,
that is so funny.
Another thing, not so much a tradition, but it's more like a pattern of communication that has made a huge difference as far as like being honest with ourselves, like me and my husband being honest with ourselves and trying to make decisions together, because it's so easy to make decisions based on what we think the other person's thinking.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so this pattern of communication where we try not to guess what the other person's thinking, like if we're going to go to a movie or a sporting event or like go to a neighbor's house or something, then we'll ask each other how much they want to go on a scale from 1 to 10, and then we'll kind of make our decision based on that.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes yes or no, there's so much in between.
There
It's like,
is.
I want to go for these reasons, but I don't want to go for these reasons. And so
Yes.
putting it on a scale from 1 to 10 is like, overall, this is how much I want to go.
Mm-hmm. And having that like sort of openness and honesty makes such a huge difference, because then you're not like, well, now I have to go because they want to go and they're thinking the same thing. Well, I have to go because she really wants to go, and not really knowing where each other is at is so much harder to make a good decision. And then you're both was like, well, I went because you wanted, well, I went because you wanted to go. And then you're like, what?
And then you're there and neither of you actually want to be there.
Yeah. How much drama is reduced when you just tell each other what you're really thinking.
Yeah.
That's kind of a big thing too, but it's so important. It's so helpful.
Yeah.
You told me that when you are deciding on a restaurant, because we'll sometimes drive around for an hour, like, should we go there? That place is full. Should we go there? That place? I mean, it's ridiculous how we'll drive around for an hour looking for a restaurant and trying to decide where to eat. And you told me the way you do it. And why don't you explain it so that you can explain it better than I would?
Yeah. So we'll have made the decision usually in advance that we're going to go out to eat. And so then we'll take turns choosing 3 restaurants and then letting the other person choose from the 3. So it's like we both get what we want. And or even if like we don't go somewhere that I want, but I did mention it in the 3, it's like, well, sucks for me because I gave him the option.
Mhm.
So it's kind of like I suggesting one of these restaurants and I'm implying that I'm okay to go there. And so
Mhm.
yeah. Anyways, we each take turns choosing 3 restaurants that we would be okay with going. And there may be a favorite in there, but we're still okay with going to any of them, really.
Mhm.
And then the other person makes the final decision.
I think that is genius. You can do it with so many things, not just restaurants. Yes. And then it sort of pleases both of you.
Yeah. It creates a win-win intentionally.
Yes. I love that so much.
So you mentioned how important it is for you to say thank you. Times in your life when you've seen other people say thank you or you've said thank you yourself. So tell me more about that.
Yeah, this morning at my exercise class, I overheard a conversation between some of the other ladies. And I don't have the entire context, but one of them was saying that she got an email from a client or a customer saying how life-changing the thing was. I don't even know what she sells, but she's like, it felt so good to just get this email from this person. It's so nice to get these, and you don't get them very often, but it made me feel so good that this person really expressed their gratitude for whatever the thing was. And then another lady had kind of a similar experience where she's like, people can be mean. They forget that we are people too. And they'll say the meanest things. But it's so lovely to just get a message from somebody saying that your product has changed my life, or it has helped me so much in whatever the area is. And it's not hard to say thank you. Sending a quick email might take 5 minutes or less. And it is so meaningful because people who create the products that you love spent their time and money. And one of the ladies was said, we spent a lot of money creating this thing. And it just feels so good. It makes it all feel so worth it to hear this kind of feedback from people. And so even I'll thank my husband for cooking dinner. I used to think like it's my job to do the cooking. And if he does the cooking, then he's doing me a favor. And I don't think of it that way anymore, but still I appreciate his efforts because he didn't have to cook and he chose to, and he's a good cook and I like his food. And then I didn't have to do it. And I thank him for that. And I feel good and he feels good.
I love that. That kind of makes me think, like, I wonder if they've ever done a study on if you get endorphins if you thank someone. Kind of like when you laugh or when you exercise, or, if there's any like brain chemistry that goes on when you thank people. The gratitude.
Yeah. So for the last couple minutes, let's talk about little phrases that make a big difference for us.
Love that. So I did a whole episode on one phrase this phrase was nothing has gone wrong. So check out my podcast episode on that phrase. I love it. It has changed my life. Like, because I often would think black or white. Like, oh, this is terrible. But then I think, oh, what if nothing's gone wrong?
Yes. Little phrase has made a big difference for me too. Another phrase that I really like is it's okay to be fill in the blank. It's okay to be late. It's okay to be tired. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to be whatever I am at the time. Especially as women, we grow up with all kinds of shoulds, all kinds of things that other people think we're supposed to be or not be, and especially angry.
Oh, yeah.
So much women are told that it's not okay for them to be angry. It is okay to be angry.
Yeah, that kind of goes with my next phrase, which is there I go being a human. It's like there I go experiencing emotions, even if they're unpleasant.
Yeah, I like that one too. Another thing that I tell myself a lot is because I can. And I'll say, I'm going to do something, whatever it is. I'm going to read a book, or I'm going to practice my harp, or I'm going to buy this thing, or I'm going to whatever it is. So many things because I can. I don't have to justify my reasons for doing the things that I want to do.
I love that. That came to mind with that is I'm going to go to the store because I can. Like, I even just sense the shift in me because sometimes I hate going to the store, but it's like, wait a minute, I can go to the store.
Rather than I have to.
Yeah.
I can versus I have to makes a big difference for me too.
Yeah. And that's kind of similar to my next one of like either be the hero or I am the hero of the story.
Tell me more about that.
So that helps me get out of my victim mode that I get into sometimes. Also, like with not menial, but with the little things that I do around the house, like the dishes or going to the store, it's like, I am amazing that I can do all these dishes. And I'm the hero of the story because my sink is empty. Or
I love that.
I made my bed, or I went to the store. Like, I'm the hero rather than this is something that I have to do every day.
Oh, I love that. Like acknowledging the work that you do, acknowledging the contribution that you make to your life and the lives of the people you live with. I love that.
And it's like, I might as well be the hero because why not?
Yeah. I really like the idea that emotions don't cancel each other out. You might feel happy about something, but also feel sad about it at the same time. Or you might be excited for something, but also dreading it a little bit at the same time. And just because you're happy about something and you're having a negative emotion too, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't have either one of them, that they can both coexist, that it's okay to have both of them at the same time.
Wow, I like that. So the last phrase I have is, I'm the best one to create fun. And how making things fun, I've always loved to make things fun. And back to what our dad said about he taught us to work and we taught him to play. It's like, I'm the best one to create fun.
And you are good at that. I'll just say that.
And it's a little thing that makes such a big difference.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you so much. This has been so much fun.
Yeah, we should, do this again sometime.
Yeah, we totally should.
It's like a little mini date with each other.
All right. So, Camille, tell me what you do and where I can find you.
So I coach women who are struggling because their husbands are viewing pornography. And I help them gain a deeper love for themselves because that's where the true healing comes and the true progress comes for themselves and their husbands. And I love it.
Yeah. And where can people find you if they want to learn more?
So I have a podcast that's called Choosing Love, and it's cultivating self-compassion in relationships with unwanted pornography use. I also have a website, CamilleScowCoaching.com, and you can find me on Instagram and Facebook at Camille Scow Coaching.
All right. I'll put all those links in the show notes.
Perfect.
Thanks for listening to the Marriage Bites podcast.
Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the fun.
Let us know what you took away from this episode by sending us an email at info@andelinprice.com.
You can also see what we're up to on Facebook and Instagram at Andelin Price Coaching, or you can visit my website, andelinprice.com, to learn more. See you next week.
Bye.
Like, even if it's like a movie or something similar. Can you hear that?
Mm-hmm.
Is that
We can just put a disclaimer at the beginning saying there's some noises, but this is life. So,
okay? Perfect.
and then I got married really young, and she got married not as young as I did. And so, which is amazing.
Oh, hi, Luke.
Maybe I'll be able to edit that out. If you can be quiet, you can stay. Is he mad? Then you can stay here with me if you'll be quiet. Okay. Thank you. Sweetie, you have to be really quiet because we're recording right now. So if you're going to be here, you have to be really quiet, or you can go outside. Okay, go. We'll see what happens.